Once upon a time, deep in the woods, near a babbling brook, lived a little bird. This little bird was known throughout the forest for being the most timid creature alive. It was so shy and scared all the time that even the smallest noise could startle it. For example, if a leaf fell from a tree nearby, this little bird would panic and hide behind its mother. If a twig snapped under its weight while hopping on it, this little bird would scream and fly away. If another animal made one wrong move, this little bird would be so frightened that its heart would almost burst out of its chest. Because of this little bird was never happy. Every single day, this little bird wished it could be like the other birds, soaring through the sky with confidence and without fear. But every time it tried, something would scare it, and it would have to run and hide again. One day, a terrible storm hit the forest. The wind blew fiercely, and the raindrops poured down harder than ever before. All the animals hid in their homes until the storm passed. Suddenly, the little bird noticed something very upsetting. Not far from where it lived, at the edge of the river, was a tiny sapling. The little bird knew the sapling very well, because it often liked to swing on its branches. But now the sapling was in great danger, because the water level had risen a lot. And if the storm didn't stop soon, the sapling might be washed away. Looking around, the little bird saw that all the bigger birds were gathered together on a tree branch, watching the poor sapling. They were talking loudly, making fun of how scared the sapling was. "Oh, look at that silly tree. So pathetic," said one of the bigger birds with a mocking laugh. "I bet it wishes it was as brave as I am," said another, puffing out its chest. "If only it could be as fearless as me, it wouldn't be so scared," said a third bird, trying to sound brave. But after saying those words, the little bird noticed that all the big birds flew away, one by one, until there wasn't a single one left, and then it realized why. Those big, boastful birds weren't actually as brave as they pretended to be. They were too scared to face such a terrible storm, and had flown away to safety. And so the little bird looked around and saw that it was the only one who had unrun away yet. The little bird wanted to run away too. It was so scared it could hardly breathe. All it wanted was to hide in a safe place until the storm was over. But then it remembered the sapling, and thought about how much it liked swinging on its branches. And it knew that if it didn't do something, the sapling would be washed away. Even though the little bird was extremely scared, it knew it had to try and save the sapling. So with trembling wings and legs, it took a deep breath, closed its eyes tight, and flew as fast as it could into the wind and the rain. When it opened its eyes, the little bird realized that it had never flown in such a fierce storm before. The wind was pulling at its wings, and the rain was stinging its face. But somehow, the little bird managed to stay in the air. The little bird looked around desperately for something it could use to save the sapling. Then it spotted a long, loose vine hanging from a tree. The little bird flew closer and grabbed the end of the vine in its beak. Holding on to the vine for its dear life, the little bird flew back to the sapling. Now, with its beak full of vine, the little bird tried to tie it to something strong. But the wind was blowing the vine away every time it got close to the sapling. Struggling to hold on to the vine and keep it in place, the little bird finally spotted an old, thick tree root under the ground. Holding on to the vine with one leg and with its beak, the little bird tied the vine as best it could. After what felt like forever, the little bird finished tying the vine. Quickly, it flew back to the tree branch, where it had grabbed the vine and made sure it was tied securely. Then the little bird flew back to the sapling. Looking around, it saw that the storm was starting to calm down, and the sun was peeking out from behind the clouds. And then it noticed that the sapling was no longer in danger of being washed away. The little bird was exhausted, drenched in rainwater and shivering from head to toe. But it was so happy and proud of itself for having helped the sapling. The little bird hopped on the sapling and sang a victory song until the other animals came out of their homes and heard the good news. All the animals were so happy that someone had saved the young sapling, and they thanked the little bird for its bravery. The animals told the little bird how amazing it was for facing the storm and saving the sapling. And for the first time, the little bird understood that it wasn't actually small or weak. It was as strong and capable as any other bird. From that day on, the little bird was no longer afraid. It was still a very humble bird, but it knew that it wasn't as weak as it thought it was. The little bird learned that sometimes we have to face our fears to help others, and that can make us braver. Sometimes it's easy to be scared and hide, but when we do something despite our fear, that's when we become truly brave. This story teaches us that even if we're scared, we should always try to help others. Also, it shows us that being brave doesn't mean you're not scared, but doing what's right anyway. The most powerful acts of bravery happen when we're scared. That's why being brave isn't about being fearless. It's about doing the right thing even when you're scared. And even if you're a small bird who's always scared, remember that you can do amazing things if you believe in yourself. So whenever you see a small act of bravery, especially by a scared little bird, know that it's one of the most powerful things in the world. Thank you for watching this story about a little bird. If you liked it, please give it a like and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on any of our future stories. And now you can watch another story about a turtle.